Now, I read a lot of manga, just so you know, and these are some of the mangas that I read this month, and I thought that I need to share this with people. People need to know about these books. And these are just my opinions and my thoughts, so don't get pissed. And if you've read any of these, let me know in the comments what your thoughts on them, because I like hearing that shit. And if you're into football, I recommend reading this before the World Cup starts, but the first manga up is Blue Lock. Yoichi Asagi is your everyday striker. One day, like 299 other guys, he gets an invitation to Blue Lock, a facility where the best striker in Japan will be trained to take Japan to their first World Cup. The Blue Lock is divided into 5 different strata, with 5 teams in each of them. The 25 teams range from B to Z, with B being the best and Z being the worst. Asagi is the second worst player in Blue Lock, and was assigned rank 299, but even though he was supposed to be just a stepping stone for the other competitors, he develops more an assertive presence on and off the field. The head coach teaches the students that if they want to become like Ronaldo or Messi, they have to be selfish and use their teammates as stepping stones and not friends. Out of all the sports anime I've read and watched, this was by far the most interesting. It doesn't focus on friendship, but rather selfishness and ego of each character. I think stories like these are more realistic because it brings out true human nature in people. It's honestly so good. Give it a read. And it's getting an anime soon, by the way, so watch out for that. Now, next up we have Shonen Jump's underrated classic. This is so underrated, it's actually criminal. Siren. It's unbelievably good. If this actually went on and got its anime adaptation that it genuinely deserves, this would have been such a big hit. Ajiha Yoshina is a self-confident high school student who helps others for a fee. On his way back from a job, he finds a strange calling card with the word siren imprinted on it, left behind in a phone booth, and decides to keep it, unaware of its purpose. The very next day, Ajiha discovers that his classmate Sakurako has the exact same calling card in her possession. When he questions her, Sakurako asks him to save her, signaling the day his troubles began. Confused by the circumstances of this encounter, Ajiha realizes something is wrong when Sakurako goes missing. In an attempt to figure out what is happening, he decides to call the number provided on the calling card and is asked a series of questions by a mysterious voice, ending with a final cryptic question: would you like to go to Siren? Thus begins 2 teenagers' participation in a game of life or death with a strange world inhabited by monsters called Taboo. Granted the ability to use psychic powers known as Psi, the duo must fight their way through battlefields and wastelands to find their way back home. This is an underrated gem, please give it a read. Next up, I Am a Hero. Now this is a zombie manga / survival manga, but saying that sort of puts it into a box. I don't want to do that because it's so much more. The story is amazing. It's the zombie manga of all zombie mangas, if that makes sense. I'm currently 2 volumes into this manga as I make this video, and I'm just going to give you my thoughts so far. So let's get the obvious out of the way. This is a zombie manga, but not like any other in the genre, in my opinion. It starts off as a very slow burn and lets you take in the surroundings and get attached to the characters before the chaos begins. I love how explicitly it does not state that it's a manga about zombies. What makes this manga exceptionally creepy is how it portrays a zombie outbreak. There's no big TV announcement that goes, man-eating zombies on the loose, stay home and lock your doors, by some frantic news reporter. There are just little hints here and there, and in the beginning it wouldn't even cross your mind that this is going to be a manga about zombies. The true horror starts when this realization suddenly hits you. The title couldn't be more perfect as well. On the surface it's a zombie manga, but perhaps the title signifies that it's truly just Hideo Suzuki's life story. The story of an ordinary man suddenly pushed into a nightmare and forced to be a hero. Even amidst the incomprehensible terror and helplessness, and a feeling of loneliness in a very scary world, you can still find the willpower and the bravery to say, I am a hero. Now the next manga coming up, in my opinion, is top 3 new gen manga out there right now. Ajin is so good. In my opinion, it should be up there with the heights of Chainsaw Man and Jujutsu Kaisen. In my opinion now. 17 years ago, immortals first appeared on the battlefields of Africa. Later, rare unknown new immortal life forms began appearing among humans, and they became known as Ajin, aka demi-humans. Just before summer vacation, a Japanese high school student is instantly killed in a traffic accident on his way home from school. However, he is revived, and a price is placed on his head. Thus begins this boy's life on the run from all of humankind, one of very few immortal beings in existence. With no one to turn to but a childhood friend, Kai must fight for survival, not only for himself but for the fate of innocent humans threatened by an evil Ajin known as Mr. Sato, the Soldier of God. I highly recommend this if you like Jujutsu Kaisen. It's very similar. Give it a try. Now Frieren is a slice of life / fantasy manga that will honestly bring your emotions for a joyride.
the emotions I felt when I was reading this, it just felt like a good time and a sad time at the same time. You'll see when you read it.
The story follows an elven mage, Fririn, a former member of the party of adventurers who defeated the Demon King and restored harmony to the world after a 10-year quest. In the past, the heroic group included Fririn, the human hero Himmel, dwarven warrior Eisen, and human priest Heiter. The four warriors reminisce about their decade-long journey as the moment to bid each other farewell arrives, but the passing of time is different for elves, thus Fririn witnesses her companions slowly pass away one by one. Before his death, Heiter managed to drop off a young human apprentice called Fern onto Fririn. Driven by the elves' passion for collecting a myriad of magic spells, and the pair embark on a seamlessly aimless journey, revisiting the places that the heroes of yore had visited. Along their travels, Fririn slowly confronts her regrets of missed opportunities to form deeper bonds with her now deceased comrades. She sets out to fulfill the last wishes of her comrades and finds herself beginning a new adventure. How will she come to understand what life means to the people around her? I usually just read shonen, but this had such an amazing welcome surprise. The story is heartfelt and touching, and I'm glad it's getting an anime adaptation soon. You need to check this series out, please.
Next up, we have Hell's Paradise. In my opinion, this is top 3 new gen also, and it ain't 3 and it ain't 2, so you know what that means. I rate this so highly. Its concept is new and fresh. If you're not hooked on the characters and the world building by a few chapters in, then drop it, but honestly, you will be hooked. Former assassin named Gabimaru, the Hollow, who is currently sentenced to death following his many crimes to have led him to the hands of the ruthless executioner. Initially, he seemingly accepted his fate, prepared to greet the afterlife. However, upon meeting Yamada, a woman who tasks him with venturing out to a dangerous island where the elixir of life is said to be held, he realizes that he wants to fight to stay alive again, for his wife. Should he find the prized possession first, he will be granted this desire by Yamada, but with many others seeking after the same thing, he may be even closer to death than he previously already was. What lies ahead in this journey to save his life? And is it worth the trouble? All these questions and more will be answered. Hell's Paradise is getting an anime later this year, so be sure to watch out for that. If it's anything like the manga, it will be fucking amazing. Now we're going to take a little bit of light-heart approach to the last one, Rooster Fire. There's only one volume out right now in English. I don't know what the fuck this manga is. It's something, I tell you that.
I was caught off guard by how ridiculous the whole thing was. It's exactly what you think. It's a fucking rooster fighting giant monsters like demons. Don't get me wrong, I thoroughly enjoyed it, but I wondered how far they would take the joke of a rooster defending the world against terrifying monsters. And I'm delighted to report that they unapologetically ran wild with that shit. He's a classic lone wolf protagonist who wanders the land, taking down fiendish foes and not looking back. He can't look back. He can't get attached, because this is a dangerous life he leads, and he has to continue his quest alone. If he has to leave a hen behind, he will, for there are more serious matters at hand. My absolute favourite thing about this manga is, yes, the rooster is obviously superpowered, but deep down he's just a boy. His attacks are what you expect, furiously pegging at an enemy followed by superpowered cock-a-doodle-doo, and his desires are just as basic, aka he can be won over by bugs or divine bird feed. It's just a weird fun read, so you need to give it a try. Honestly, you won't regret it. Please try it.
So that's my manga picks for the month anyway. Let me know if you want to see another one next month. Just comment it down below and I'll do one, no problem. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. You can subscribe if you want. You don't have to though. The majority of people that watch my videos aren't subscribed, so yeah, that's it. Peace.